What we're looking at now is a thing called the domain name system, also known as DNS. And before we look at it, let's just think about computers on a network. So each one of these dots is a computer, and they're sitting on a network such as the internet, so they're interlinked in some kind of way. And each one of these computers in the internet, so with IP, has its own IP address. And so this one might be 168.115. This one could be 174.28.3.2. So they have IP addresses that look something like this, and each one of these computers will have its own IP address. Now, the problem with this is exactly the same as the problem you have with telephone numbers. Humans find it quite difficult to remember what the numbers are. So what they came up with was a thing called domain names. And an example of domain names would be maybe google.co.uk or wikipedia.org. These are both examples of domain names in use at the moment. And so what happens is a domain name such as google.co.uk has associated with it an IP address, and this is just an example, this isn't the real one. So an IP address will be associated with that, and all of these IP addresses and their associations to their domain names get stored on something called a DNS server, so domain name system server. And there's not just one server, there's many of these servers on the web, because if there was only one, every single person would have to access the same server. So it's distributed across the web, and you access a server which is fairly close to you, and someone else will access a server which is near to them. And so let's kind of see this semi at work. So if we take a look at a page, so here what we have is Google, and we can just type that in again to show that I'm not cheating in any way. If I put in google.co.uk, then up it comes, and there we go, that's the Google page. Now, what I can do is I can use a small bit of software if you're using pretty much any computer. Go to the command prompt or the console and put in ping along with the name of who you're trying to access. And what it will do is it will send requests through to that person. But in order to get that, it's made a DNS request to the server saying, what's the number that I'm going to send to? What's the IP number? And so up here we see there's this number here, which is 173, starts off like that and carries on. Now you can type that directly into your internet browser. So if I put in 173.194.66.94 and let it go away, then it comes up with the web page. So this is actually me requesting the web page from a particular IP address. What happened here when I typed in google.co.uk was something different though. So when I just type in the name, I put in google.co.uk. My computer then makes a request to the DNS server saying, what is the IP address for google.co.uk? The DNS server then has a look in its database, and it comes back and it says the address that we got here, so 173.194.66.94, 173.94, and then that was 66.94. So it will send that address back to the web browser. And the web browser now says, okay, so go to 173.194.66.94 and give me the web page back. And then you get the web page. And so the DNS system, so the domain name system, the first bonus of using that, and reason that we use it, is it's easier for humans to remember. And there's another massive bonus to using it. Let's say that Google is located on 173.94.66.94, but let's say they now want to move their servers from America to the UK. What that would mean, because IP addresses are assigned to different companies and different regions, they would have to change all of their IP addresses. All their phone numbers would change. But this isn't what actually happens, because even though they have to change their IP addresses, it's not a problem, because they just have to change on the DNS servers where that domain name points to. And so an advantage of using domain names is that you can change IP address and change the record on the DNS server. And you would change the record probably on the DNS server and also on the domain name registration. And that's the two advantages as to why we use domain names and DNS servers.